How's everybody doing? My name is Jason Keath. I am from socialfresh.com.
We still like
it. Very excited about the panel today. We have several smart gentlemen. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I'm going to kind of poll the audience, see where you guys stand. With this kind of technology-focused topic, it's really important for us to understand where you guys stand, who you represent, if you're representing agencies, small businesses, et cetera. Thank you. Can you hear me in the back there? Okay, so I'm going to start on the end here with Phil. Each of you introduce yourself with a minute or two about your business, and we'll get started and get some questions from the audience rolling.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, everybody. My name's Phil Gulio. I'm a co-founder of a company called Welcome Mat and also a company called Pegshot. We're mostly focused on the ability or enabling third parties to publish media specific to place and location online. So we power, my first company, Welcome Mat, powers video for some of the largest brokerages, real estate brokerages in the country, providing a video solution for them to serve customers with videos of places and spaces online. And then Pegshot is a mobile application, much like a Instagram. There's several now out there that allow you to share what's happening where you are with your friends and family online.
So my name is Rob Reed, and I'm founder of a company called Momentfeed. We're based in Los Angeles, and it's an integrated platform for managing Foursquare, Facebook Places, Gowalla, and Twitter, specific to places, mainly for large brands, companies that have more than 20 locations. So it's a dashboard solution for your McDonald's and Starbucks of the world to manage all of this new social activity that's taking place in their actual locations. That's what we do.
All right, my name is Gil Harel. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ByteHunter, which is a real-time search engine for dining deals. We launched in March of 2011 this year in 3 cities, New York, San Francisco, and Chicago. And we're waiting for Apple approval to launch our iPhone app, and we're going to cover the entire nation. So what we do is we aggregate and analyze in real time thousands of messages coming out from restaurants, whether they're sending Twitter, updating their Facebook page, posting a deal on daily deal websites, whatever it is, we capture that, we analyze it, and we put it in a very powerful engine.
I'm Ryan Kuder. I'm VP of Marketing for a company called Bizzy. We are a consumer-focused mobile app, the first ever checkout app. What Bizzy does is it lets you go out someplace, and when you're done, provide a really quick rating and a little mini review that tells all your friends what you thought about it. On the back end, what we're doing is we are looking to create a sentiment layer on top of geolocation data and build out the world's largest database of who likes what places and what their sentiment toward those places are.
Excellent. And I've used everybody's app except for Momentfeed. I don't really have a use case personally for Momentfeed yet because we don't have a physical location. But all great apps, all great technology. I'm really looking forward to the ByteHunter app because I've used the website and it's really useful. And Bizzy as well is doing some cool new things that are coming out. Quick hands raised of the audience. How many of you have used location apps personally kind of as a consumer? Excellent. And how many of you have used them or have helped clients use them as a business tool on the marketing side? And how many of you are from agencies? Okay, excellent. So it's maybe a third to half agency audience. I think I want to kick off with a few stats. Edison Research, who is the research company that does all the polling data during elections for all the big TV stations and broadcast reporting, recently came out with a social insights survey in the past week, and they updated all their location adoption statistics. So a few quick statistics to kick us off, and then we're going to jump into some questions. 3 in 10 Americans are now familiar, 30% are now familiar with location-based services. So they may not be using them, but they're aware. That's up 450% from last year. So last year it was, I believe that's 7% were aware. No, it was smaller than that. I don't know the math, but up 450%, which is huge, right? It's a big increase in at least awareness, and the numbers remind me really of Twitter's kind of early adoption. I'm not saying it's going to be the same growth curve by any means, but it's good to hear that kind of number, that kind of growth in the awareness of these types of tools. I think Facebook probably can be held responsible for a lot of that awareness. 10 million Americans have posted at least once their location through an app. So whether that's Facebook Places or Google or Pegshot or Foursquare, 10 million Americans, or Bizzy. And that is, that's America 12-year-old plus. So that's a common consumer demographic for those of you that don't know. And then amongst those, 20% of that population, or 2 million, are using it every day, every time they go out, are using some type of check-in or location-based technology every time they go out. And that number is up dramatically from last year, way more than 450%. So these numbers are encouraging, and they're really good to see the growth of the industry, especially the awareness number. But my first question to the panel, and I'm going to ask a couple questions to kick things off, and then please raise your hand or whisper if you're behind me so I can tell that you have questions. We want to open it up to audience questions as soon as you have something to say. I'm going to kick it off with, are these numbers reassuring? Is adoption growing fast enough? Is it to some level where most marketers should be paying attention to this platform? Or are we still in an infancy level where it might not be relevant for the majority of marketers? Where do you think it stands? And anybody that wants to start it off?
I think it really depends on how you define most. I think that there are certain marketers for whom it absolutely makes as much sense as possibly paying attention to these
certain categories.
Right now, there's certain categories. There's a lot of other categories that I don't think that it makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of talk about brands that are getting involved in location-based services and things like that. And even I shake my head at some of them. When they ask me to follow them on Foursquare, I'm like, I don't even know what that would do for me.
Yeah.
But I think that there is a. Is that somebody talking?
It's your inner voice.
It's my inner voice.
Sanity.
I gotta get that thing to shut up. I think there are certain categories. I think.
What would those be? What categories do you think?
Well, I think that it's places like restaurants, places where people make snap-on-the-fly types of decisions. I think that the planned-out decisions are something that it's less necessary to be able to be reaching people at a particular location at a particular time.
Makes sense.
So anything where you're making a decision on the fly, where to eat, where to get gas, that you're making these decisions out on the road, I think that's where you've got a high match for location-based marketing.
What about you guys? Anybody else?
Well, I think with the benefit of hindsight for what I'd call social media 1.0, which was entirely PC and browser based.
So pre-mobile.
Yeah, pre-mobile pretty much. I mean, it's all the activity was taking place on the social web, and that really kind of grew from like 06 or so, and really hit critical mass in like 09, where Twitter really took off and Facebook and everything just jumped. And I think we're on a similar trajectory with social media 2.0, which is smartphone-based, app-based, happening in the physical world. It's debatable about kind of where we are in that, but I'd put it somewhere in like 2008. So I think next year could be the
big adoption.
The big adoption. That's where we're going to see that kind of Twitter Oprah moment next year. Sometime.
So do you see the growth trend continuing? Do you see right now there's 8 million users on Foursquare. It's 10. The largest. Is it 10 million now?
Yeah, and 1 million a month.
A million a month?
Which is 8 back at South by.
I need to catch up on that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, which is like 2.
And pretty much where Twitter was in 2008 in terms of if you look
Facebook Places didn't stop them. It's not they didn't take.
It's true.
Share.
No,
so
it
their growth is accelerating after a big competitor.
It's a rising tide effect.
So do we feel that the growth is because of the smartphone, and the smartphone's getting into more people's hands, and it's easier to use, and it's the intuitiveness of these apps are improving?
I think it makes sense because, for instance, 30% of the searches on Google Mobile is related to restaurants.
Can you pull your mic up just a little?
Are related to restaurants. So
30% of searches on Google mobile
are related to restaurants. So users are on the go. They want to decide now where to eat. They have the option to do that. They don't have to go to the computer. It's also true to industries that have perishable products, theaters, events. It's just gonna more and more kick in and give an options for consumers to on the spot consume product.
Yeah, makes sense.